Hello, everyone. This is Tasha, and you're having conversations with Miss Reed. So we're going to go into this episode of House of the Dragon. And what I wanted to do is do a season breakdown of all the episodes. I've already posted the character breakdown, the swords, the dragons, and the houses for season 1. The people that we've already met on the first season. Season 2 is scheduled to air in 2024. So they have a lot of work to go on. I've never read the books, so I'm a show watcher only. But from what I understand from those that have read the book, that we're getting ready to come into some craziness. Like, it ended on a cliffhanger and we already know where it's going to lead. So they're expecting us to have like so much like battles and all kinds of backstabbing and everything. The regular stuff that goes wrong with this show. So I'm excited. If you can't tell already, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. I was so excited when they was going to do the House of the Dragon. This was my second favorite house on Game of Thrones. The Starks was my first, and then the Targaryens was second. So I really am excited about this. And on top of that, I get to see all these dragons I'm crazy about. I'm a little upset that we don't get to have a season where Balerion the Black Dread, which is the biggest, he's supposed to be the biggest dragon, but before this show started, that dragon had died. So, and then he wasn't in Game of Thrones because that was years after that. So, okay, let's go on and get into the episode. So we start off with Rhaenyra narrating the opening scene. And she says, as the first century of the Targaryen dynasty came to a close, the health of the old king Jaehaerys was failing. In those days, House Targaryen stood at the height of its strength with 10 adult dragons under its yoke. No power in the world could stand against it. King Jaehaerys reigned over nearly 60 years of peace and prosperity, but tragedy had claimed both his sons, leaving his succession in doubt. So in the year 101, the old king called a great council to choose an heir. Over 1,000 lords made the journey to Harrenhal. 14 succession claims were heard, but only 2 were truly considered. Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the king's eldest descendant, and her younger cousin, Prince Viserys Targaryen, the king's eldest male descendant. Then we go into the episode and you see King Jaehaerys read off the results, and he announced that Prince Viserys is his successor. Rhaenyra goes on to say, Rhaenys, a woman, would not inherit the Iron Throne. The lords instead chose Viserys, my father. Jaehaerys called the Great Council to prevent a war being fought over his succession, for he knew the cold truth. The only thing that could tear down the House of the Dragon was itself. And then on the screen, we have written out, it is now the 19th year of King Viserys I Targaryen's reign. 172 years before the death of the Mad King Aerys and the birth of his daughter, Princess Daenerys Targaryen. Then we go into the episode. And we see this beautiful sky with clouds and everything. And then, bam, here go our first dragon. You know, as soon as I seen that dragon, I just started cheering, like, yay! And it's young Rhaenyra, and she's flying on Syrax, which is her dragon. She's flying home. And then, when she lands and stuff, then we see the dragon tamers. And this is something we didn't see in Game of Thrones. So I really appreciate that they are so detailed on this season. So we have dragon tamers coming out and they're trying to calm Syrax down and stuff. And I'm sure like they probably have a relationship with the dragons that's totally different, of course, than the writers have with them, because we see it even more now. We saw it with Dany in Game of Thrones, but we see it more with these Targaryens and how they have such a connection and a bond with their dragon. So I have some thoughts on some things that happen with the younger riders of the dragons. So, and I think it's because the lack of experience, and maybe one because he's actually stole the dragon. But anyways, we're gonna keep on rolling. So we have her bodyguard per se, which is Sir Westerling. He's happy to see that she flew back safe and sound, because if she hadn't, his head was gonna be on the spike, and we know we don't want that shit to happen with his cute self. And then she walk on, and you see Allison come out of her little carriage, and she mentions that Cyrex is almost as big as Caraxes. And Rhaenyra let her know, like, hey, we might be able to put another saddle on there, or a saddle big enough so 2 people to ride. And Allison like, girl, please, I'll leave that dragon riding up to y'all, you and your family, because she is a high tower. So we have the blacks versus the greens. Keep that in mind, guys. But we're not there yet. These girls as friends. From what I understand, the people that have read the book said that Allison actually in the book, she is much, much older than Rhaenyra. So in the show, I believe they're like 13, 14 maybe. And in the books, I think Allison was supposed to be in her 20s, and Rhaenyra was like a teenager. But I'm glad that they did it this way, because a lot of things just make sense, and I think it just make it so much better with the events that happens throughout the season. So I think putting them at the same age really, really works. It just comes together really good. I like that. So the girls go there. We see them out in like maybe the garden, and they just going through a book. I guess this is like they have to study like social studies in high school, y'all. So they have to study the book and learn history and all that. And Rhaenyra cracked me up. She snatches a page out of the book, which comes back later, guys. She snatches a page out of the book, and she, let Allison know, like, girl, just because I don't seem like I'm interested, I know what the book says. I done read it backward and forward. And Allison like, girl, you gonna get in trouble for snatching that page out of the damn book. The Septon gonna beat you behind. Like, you know how the nuns used to be ready to whoop you with a paddle and shit. And Rhaenyra said, fuck the scepter. I had to turn my closed captions on and rewind that, because I was like, did I hear that right? Did that girl say fuck the scepter? And it sure did say it on there, unless my closed caption just knew I wanted to hear some cuss words and they just put that shit up there. But I believe that's what she did. She did do that. So then she go on to see her mom. And her mother is about 20 months pregnant. No, she looked like she about ready to have that baby. 9 months pregnant. And then, she go in and see her mom laying there with her girls, fanning her and trying to soup her up. Like, girl, you got this. You done had 24 babies already. And 23 of them died, but you can do this. This is going to be your last one. You're going to have this baby. This baby going to be here, girl. And she just laying there like, yeah, I know. And so Rhaenyra come in like, what's up, Ma? You ain't had that baby. Yeah, God dang, Ma. So her mother's like, girl, you talking crazy like that? Excuse me. Because you're going to be like this one of these days when it's time for you to start bearing fruit out here. You're going to be in here having these babies just like me. And Rhaenyra like, I doubt it. And so her mother's like, girl, go and get out of my face, because you smell like a dragon. So I said, well, damn, what the dragon smell like? Because, she be sitting on top of it, so what the hell she was doing? But, hey, you know how mothers is. I know anytime my daughter, she just walk outside to the damn mailbox, and I be like, girl, go take a shower. You smell like outside. And I know she like, what? All I did is go to the mailbox, Mom. Like, how do I smell like outside? But whatever. So then we see the king. He got his little posse together. They having a little council meeting and everything. And Rhaenyra, and they're discussing the crab feeder and his little shenanigans. So we're gonna see who the crab feeder. And I think episode 3. But we hear about him and stuff, and he out here causing all kind of havoc and shit, and everybody getting mad like this dude need to go. We getting sick of him and stuff. And so Rhaenyra comes in because she's supposed to be the cupbearer. So the first thing, like, the king forgot all about the damn crab feeder and was like, "Yo, where your ass been at, girl? Because we've been sitting around here waiting for something to drink, and you've been messing around on the dragon. I could smell it. You on the dragon and shit. And we've been sitting here waiting for us to get something to drink." And I'm looking like, shit, I don't know if I would have been waiting over in there. My ass would have been got me something to drink. So Lord Corlys is the black guy on the show, guys. I was excited to see that we had someone of color that was on here. So Lord Corlys, he's the richest. He has the richest house on the show. And he's considered to be called the sea snake because he has the boats and stuff out in the ocean protecting the realm that way. So he is really having a problem with the crab feeder. So he tries to say like, hey, we need to take this serious because the guy is out here destroying up shit, and they really ain't listen to him. So we get old weirdo Otto, that's what I'm gonna call him. He's the hand of the king and Alicent's father. I dislike this man so much, not just because of the way he talks. I can't stand that, but he just looks so raggedy. I'm like, goodness gracious, look like something. Look like you went shopping. Shit. And you're just not out here making your own clothes. No, he dressed nice, but his hair, he need to go to the barber shop. I don't know what's up with him. So Otto, a little raggedy behind, he don't want to talk about it anymore. He just try to like brush past it and move on to talking about the tournament that's coming up. And so the king like, oh hell yeah, let's talk about that and stuff. And so Rhaenyra, our peep ganger, I like to sit myself. So Rhaenyra went over to Lord Corlys and tried to, pour him something in his glass. And he put his hand on it and was like, I don't drink this shit. I drink when I get home. That's why I keep my Ciroc. I don't drink whatever y'all drink over here. So he was like, I ain't drinking this mess. So then we got, once they just talk about the tournament, and that's when the king's like, yeah, because this way I can, announce my baby boy and stuff. And I know that's probably like making Rhaenyra feel like, damn, I mean, I'm 13 years older than this boy that you feel like you have it. And the maester's like, oh, there's no way we could tell that it's a boy. Like, I mean, why you keep saying that it's a boy? Because, back then they ain't had no sonograms or ultrasounds and stuff like that. And he was like, I just feel it in my bones. It's a boy. It's a boy. And so then we go on from there, and Sir Westerling is walking with Rhaenyra. He's the Lord Commander of the King's Guard, so he's the head dude in charge. So he's walking with Rhaenyra, and they go in the throne room, and as they enter the throne room, you see Daemon sitting on the throne, and immediately Sir Westerling is like, no, do you want me to handle this, princess, or whatever? And she's like, nah, that's just my uncle. He be playing too much, but he harmless and shit. And so everybody always said that anybody that sit on that throne and they get cut by the throne, that means they were unfit to rule. So Daemon was sitting on that motherfucker like it wasn't no sword sticking out of it, because you let poor little Viserys sit on it. As soon as he put his little booty cheek on it, he getting cut everywhere, and this thing is massive. It got swords from everywhere. I mean, as you walking up, the sword starting down at the steps, and you get up there, that shit full of. I'll be like, no, y'all need to put some comforters or something. Like, I need cushion. I don't want to be getting cut up or whatever. So they as they talking, they start talking in their High Valyrian, which I love, even though I don't understand none of the shit. And I know it's a made up language, but I do like that they translate it, because I'm like, what did you talk about? So this is a show that you just cannot be doing other stuff. And this is a show I never wanted to just be doing anything else. I am focused. When I'm watching this show, I'm focused. And I literally have to watch an episode like maybe 3 times, because after I watch it, I listen to like my YouTubers that really are into this. Like, they know the history so good. And shout out to New Rock Stars, because they would break this thing down so damn much. You be sitting here like, what? So that makes me go back and want to watch episodes again, because after they point out things that I missed the first time, then I go back and I'm like, God, this stuff just makes so much sense. Like, they break down the intro. As soon as you hear that, oh my God, look. And this is the only show that I would let the intro play every time. I don't give a damn. I just love the music. And they break it down. Like, they even break down when you see the blood, like the red going through, that's the bloodlines of each house. And when it fills up, that means that person has died or someone had died. And now, I mean, it's just crazy. So like I said, go to New Rock Stars on YouTube, follow them if you're interested. They broke down Game of Thrones. Like, I couldn't get by without them. And it helped me to explain things to, like, people that I was trying to get into the show and stuff. And I am not 100% great. I'm not even 70%. I'm not even 60%. I'll say I'm probably like 10% on this show. But as far as the knowledge and everything, but I am glad to be a show watcher, because I know the people that read the book already know what's going to happen, and I just don't want to know. Okay, so back into the episode. So she's talking to Damon. Damon gives her a necklace and stuff, and oh, I'm sorry. I was sitting here thinking, and then I fast forward too fast in my head. After that happened, that's when Rhaenyra and Alicent are sitting in the out in the weirwoods, and they're going over their history and stuff. So sorry about that. I was just going too fast, and plus I have it playing in the background, and I think the episode of course it don't fast forward past me, so I'm just a little out of it. So, okay, then we get on over to the king, and he got these nasty swords, as I was saying, and the maesters are trying to help, heal him, like put stuff. Just wait till you find out all the other shit that he's going through and the kind of medicine they try to give in order to help him. Like, their procedures is disgusting. So the one maester he just like, you know what, I'm suggesting that we cauterize this. Like, we just need to do this and get this shit off. Because the thing is just oozing. And I kept saying, like, Stacy watches this too. And we would be texting, and I would tell him, like, he just kind of smell. Like, he can't smell good. And oh my God. He just can't be so good. So anyways, he like, yeah, do that. Whatever. I'm good with it. And then he goes into the bathroom where his wife is, and she's relaxing in the tub, and she tell him, like, this is the only way that she can find relief. And anybody that's been pregnant understand her pain. Because I know once I got towards the end of my pregnancy, I'm ready. I'm ready to have that baby. I want it out. Let's get it over with. And so, he was telling her about a dream that he was having, putting a crown on his son and the dragons roaring and stuff all together. And then she let him know, like, you know what? After this baby, I'm done. I'm done. I need you to understand me, Viserys. You need to learn how to pull out. Your pull out game gonna have to be better, because they ain't got no birth control during this time. So she like, you're gonna have to start pulling out on this withhold sex, because I can't have no more kids. This girl, she over with. She like, I can't do this no more. You're tearing me up. So then we go on over to Damon and his little posse and stuff. And Damon out here, trying to get his people hyped up and letting them know that, people are coming into town and shit, and we gotta make sure things stay straight around here, and we don't need no problems and stuff. We don't want people all running and wreaking havoc on our nice folks that's coming into town. They got money and shit. These are big diplomats, and we don't need, my brother don't need these problems. And so he getting his crew all hyped up. They call the gold cloaks and stuff, and they pounding on their chests and everything. And he just talking to them.
I took command of the watch, you were stray mongrels. Starving and undisciplined. Now, you're a pack of hounds. Sated, home for the hunt. My brother's city has fallen into squalor. Crime of every breed has been allowed to thrive. No longer. Beginning tonight, King's Landing will learn to fear the color gold.
Man, I said, go ahead, Damien. Why? After he did that and stuff, next thing you hear somebody say, rape her. And then I turn around, they done cut the man nuts off and shit. Then you hear thief. Then a man hand get cut off. Then Lord, they say murderer. And that's when Damon pulls out Dark Sister, y'all. And I mean, this blade is beautiful. Dark Sister is, whew, I just love it. I wonder how they come up with their names and stuff. But it is pure Valyrian steel. And they already said, like, anything, the Valyrian steel, it cuts like, I mean, oh my God, it cuts like butter. Like, whoo! Just tear it up. And then when he said that, murderer, once he pulled out Dark Sister, he cut the damn man head off. And you just see him standing there holding the damn head. And it's like, what anybody gonna say? Who gonna fuck with them? Nobody. Cause even by themselves, if you think you're gonna just mess with like the gold clothes and Damon still got his dragon. Like, who would be dumb enough to fuck with somebody that got a dragon that breathes fire? Ain't no little baby dragon. This a big ass dragon. Child. So then we get on over and you see Otto, little raggedy stuff. He in there complaining to Viserys about people being mutilated and how his brother just messed up, just tearing up the town and stuff. He wreaking so much havoc and, making the people fear him and all this, that. And so, Damon's sitting at the council so he can answer for, the type of justice that he's been handing out and everything. And Damon explains, like, you're about to have a tournament. People are coming from all over the realm. Do you want these things to be happening to them in your city? Don't you want your city to be safe for people to be coming in here? And then he looked at Autumn and was like, sometimes bring your bitch ass down here so that you can see what's going on. I bet you if you bring your behind down here and you see that these people are robbing, raping, murdering folks, you'll have a different outlook on this shit. I did y'all a favor. And so the king agrees, like that's my little brother. He is speaking some truth, but he was like, I appreciate, the work you're doing, Damon, and stuff. But can you not like kill everybody? Can you like not maim everybody? And Lord Corlys jumps in and he's like, we hired Damon to handle this shit. And so he should be feared. And Damon like, exactly, shit. Thank you for having my back and stuff. So weirdo Otto, of course, not to be wrong, he gonna have to put his little part in there, and he gonna say,
"Give your support, Uncle. If only the prince would show the same devotion to his lady wife as he does his work, your grace. You've not been seen in the Vale or at Runestone for quite some time.
I think my bronze bitch is happier for my absence.
Lady Rhea is your wife, a good and honourable lady of the Vale.
The Vale men are said to fuck sheep instead of women. I can assure you, the sheep are prettier.
Dear me. You made a vow before the Seven to honour your wife in marriage.
I shall give Lady Rhea to you, Lord Hightower, if you're in want of a woman to warm your bed. Your own lady wife passed recently. Did she not?
Otto.
Perhaps you aren't ready to move on just yet.
You know how my brother makes sport of provoking you. Must you indulge him?
Yeah, I'll be cracking out. Damon had these one-liners and his attitude is just stank. He just don't give a fuck. And I just love the way I'm like, yep, he a Leo. He a Leo. That's why he act like that, y'all. So then King Varys, after that, King Varys goes on. He reprimands Daemon, not not in a way that Daemon feels scared or anything though, but he does have to show some force, I guess, in front of his friends. I wish y'all could have seen Otto face though. That shit was hilarious. I cracked up, and even when the one of the lords that was in there, he was like, "Oh, brother." Daemon. I'm like, but who gonna fuck with Daemon though? So after this, Daemon had to leave and go blow off some steam. So we see him, he in there trying to bust him a nut, y'all. He can't even do it. He can't stay focused or anything. His mind is all, I guess, out here on his brother talking, and everybody talking shit about him and stuff. And then he got an attorney coming up and stuff, and he like, he gotta get his mind right for that and everything. So she tried to talk to him and everything, but he just like, yeah, whatever. So, okay, now we move on. We had a tournament, y'all. And King Viserys is greeting the crowd, and he let everybody know that Queen Emma has started her labors. I cracked up. I said, her labors? Nigga, only a man. It is not that easy. You should be in there sweating just like Queen Emma. Poor woman. I said it first, I'm going to keep saying it. I am glad to have not been a woman in them days, because the way, Lord Jesus, I'd be like, give me all of the milk of the poppy. I want it all. I want all of that, which is supposed to be like morphine, y'all. I need all the damn milk of the poppy, because I don't want to feel none. They made them women feel every motherfucking thing. And okay, so the men, while they out here doing the tournament and stuff, they call out for favors. So what it is like a wreath, and on their jousting sticks, I guess once they call the favor out to the woman or whoever they want it from, that woman takes the wreath and then she'll just put it on their jousting stick. And so let me see who started off. Okay, so I think it was one of the Baratheons. So one of the Baratheons, he asked the queen, which is his cousin too, who never was, and they called her the queen who never was, aka Rhaenys. And he asked her for her favor, and she puts the wreath on his wielding lances. That's what they're called. And she sits back down next to her boo, which is Lord Corlys, y'all. Like I said, the only black man. Well, he ain't the only black man, but he's the black man on the show. And they both look at each other. And I love the way they interact with one another, because they look at it just like, look at this here nigga. He out here talking this shit, calling me out and everything. And then meanwhile, Allison's sitting over there with Rhaenyra, and they gossiping about some girl being pregnant. And I guess because she wearing a big dress, and she trying to hide it and stuff. And then you see Otto whisper to the king about the Baratheon should have been punished for, asking Rhaenys for her favor. And I was like, you know what? That's the only time I must agree. He probably should have, but if Lord Corlys wasn't worried about it, then, I guess he like, shit, that nigga he ain't sweating that. And the king was like, just chill out, don't worry. Corlys ain't tripping about it, so we shouldn't be neither. So Rhaenyra asks her bodyguard, which is Sir Westerling, about Christian Cole, and she was like, shit, who that? You know what I'm saying? I see his armor and everything, but he don't look like the rest of everybody here and stuff. He all cute. Who family he with? And so Sir Westerling, he like, well, I really don't know much about him and stuff, but shit, the only thing I do know, he just beat the brakes out of both of the Baratheons. So that says a lot. Shit. He can protect you, girl, if you trying to get with it and whatever. And so our boy Daemon, he is being introduced, the prince, the Prince Targaryen, Daemon, first of his name, walking around with Dark Sister, with riding Cyrax, let me stop. Caraxes, shit, with the longest white hair out here. So they calling his name and letting him know that he ain't even had to I guess he ain't had to put his name in the box and schedule who he was gonna fight. And nigga said, I'm gonna roll up. I'm gonna point at who I want to fight. So he riding his little horse and walking through all the men lined up and stuff, and he just going through. And next thing you know, he just turn around and he just point at I believe that was Otto's son. Yeah. He pointed at Otto's son. And I said, oh Lord. So Allison, she's sitting there and she's so nervous, she eating the meat off her damn fingernails. Oh, she already ate the nail. No, she eating the fingers now, because that's how nervous her ass is. And then she looked back at her dad like, oh God. And what's the name? Oh, Otto. He's sitting there like, it's okay, don't worry about it. And you got people over here, other lords beating the hell out of each other in the background and stuff, and I'm saying like, what the hell? So his Damon, he riding through and he fucks up to her brother's horse. And I don't even think we even learned what the boy's name is, but anyways, he messed up the horse. So he like leans down and like hit the leg of the horse. And we saw that in Game of Thrones too, when Dany came and did, I think they call it like the Field of Fire, and she came with Drogon, her dragon, and that's when Bronn was going up against one of the Dothrakis, and he wind up like leaning down and cutting off the leg of the horse, so he was able to like get the man onto the ground and stuff. And so Damon, I don't think he didn't cut this horse's legs, but he hit the horse in the leg, and that's when the horse like buckled down and he fell off or whatever. And then Damon, after he beat her brother's asses, he looked up there and asked Allison for her favor. And she looked at her dad like, oh, damn. But you could sort of tell that she was excited. She was sitting there like, oh, shit. What it'd be like to be with the prince? And so then she looked at her dad and he's like, you sit your ass down. Go through that damn favor and sit your ass back down here with your little nubby hands and shit. So she stopped smiling. She went on there and she put the wreath on his jousting stick and sat her ass right on back down. And so then you see one of the maesters come out to let Otto know, which I was like, hello, the daddy right here. But anyway, just come out and let Otto know that let Viserys know that Queen Emma is struggling to have the baby and stuff, and the baby is breech. So, they gotta make some kind of decisions and everything. Some dude throwing up and everything in the background. And while they doing all that, it's disgusting because they smashed the man's head in. Blood all over the place. And you see poor little baby Lyanna. She's so cute. She's squeezing her brother's arm, laying her. And I said, oh God, those are little kids. Those are the Valerian children. So those are Lord Corlys and Princess Rhaenys's children. Okay, so now we go. Let's see what happens after that. Viserys, he's talking to the maesters and stuff, and they telling him that they can perform a C-section that they just learned about. So I'm like, okay, we're in 2022, so we all know about C-sections now. But back then, this is in the AC, so they just playing around with people and shit. No, I need you to go get something and play with that first and see what happens when you pull the damn baby out that way. So then we go from that to back to the jousting, and then you can see the battle going on between Daemon and Sir Criston Cole. So Viserys is talking to Queen Emma and trying to calm her down and stuff, and soon as I see they pulled her down, and my whole body just tightened up. I said, oh my God, no, y'all not. Y'all ain't nobody giving her nothing. Y'all ain't giving her no more milk of the poppy. Ain't nobody giving her nothing. They ain't giving her no moon tea, nothing. So that means they getting ready to fucking slice her open with nothing. Nothing. And this is the reason why I was like, my goodness, I'm so glad I wasn't born in them times, because good Lord, a woman couldn't have possibly lived to be in her damn 40s. And they holding her down while she's screaming. And he talking about some, don't be scared. And I'm like, what the fuck? This just goes to show, like, men just don't understand what the hell women go through. Even if it was a labor in 2022, you still getting your body ripped open to bring a life into this world. But anyways, we flipping back and forth. So we going back to the tournament, and shit, Damon got hit, I guess, or he did wind up getting hit where he's sliding down the whole damn pole sideways on his horse until he falls off. And then him and Cole get to fighting. They on foot now. And then we switch back over to Eamon, who has been cut. And you see all the blood running out of her. I was like, oh my God. And it seemed like Damon, then we flip it back over to Turney. So we see that Damon looked like he done won and everything. He's standing up with his arms out and stuff. And next thing you know, Cole hits him and bring him down. So Cole actually wins, and he asks Rhaenyra for her favor. So, that probably made her day, because she already was checking for him and stuff. But then poor Emma, she is laying dead in a pool of blood. The fucking maesters come and congratulates King Viserys on him having a son. And you see weirdo Otto talking to the other lords and whispering and shit. And the maester comes and asks him, what did they give the baby a name? And I believe at that moment, because you see his face is sort of weird or whatever, not the baby, but you see the maester's face. And I think at that moment, that's when the baby dies. And then we get on over to the funeral scene, and Damon walks up to Rhaenyra, letting her know that she, everybody's waiting on her, and her uncle speaking High Valyrian and stuff. Then she says Dracarys, signaling for the dragon to burn her mother and her little brother. And afterwards, we switch back over to the council room where Weirdo Otto has called a meeting of succession. And I'm like, the man just lost literally, smoke not even cleared. They already in there. He want to know. So Corlys is like, oh, what are we doing this for? We already have someone, and which is Daemon Targaryen. And Weirdo is like, nah, not that nigga. He is too unpredictable. So Viserys, he, you can see that he's frustrated. He is really upset, and he gets to talking crazy.
What he did with the gold cloaks. The city watch is fiercely loyal to him. An army 2,000 strong. An army you gave him, Otto. I named Damon Master of Laws, but you said he was a tyrant. As Master of Coin, you said he was a spendthrift that would beggar the realm. Putting Damon in command of the city watch was your solution.
A half measure, Your Grace. The truth is, Damon should be far away from this court.
Damon is my brother. My blood. And he will have his place at my court.
Let him keep his place at court, Your Grace. But if the gods should visit some further tragedy on you, either by design or accident...
What are you saying? My brother would murder me. Take my crown. Are you? Please.
Damon has ambition, yes, but not for the throne. He lacks the patience for it.
The gods have yet to make a man who lacks the patience for absolute power, Your Grace.
Under such circumstances, it would not be an aberration for the king to name a successor.
Well, who else would have a claim?
And at this point, this is when they go ahead and mention that Rhaenyra will be next in line. And the men, they go on and argue and stuff. And this is when King Viserys just blows up. He like, fuck! My wife and son died today. I don't have time for this shit. And so I say, you know what? That's right. He should have slapped the mess out of Otto at that point. So Otto is sending something right away to Old Town, and that's where he's from. And I don't know if it's a letter, maybe letting them know that Queen Emma died. I don't know what it was, but or maybe it was to let other people know that they just talked about finding a successor just in case King Viserys passes away, I guess. But we didn't see what it was. It was just a note or something like that. So at that point, let's see. But he also, now this was a weird part. He requested his daughter to come in so he could smoothly tell her to go visit the king in his chambers. Then told her to wear one of her mother dresses. I was like, ugh, what the hell? I mean, again, I would not want to be a woman in them days because all you was really needed for is to produce heirs and just fuck. That's it. Like, ugh, God. And they ain't give a damn how old them men be, like 95 years old. The girl be 12. And they sitting up here like, yep, y'all make a good, that'll work out. So anyways, Allison take a little butt in there. And she got on, I guess that's her mama's little outfit. She got on mama dress and she bring her little history book. Because Viserys does, he's a history buff. So I guess he does love that. And then we move on over to Daemon. And he's at a brothel. And they said that he done bought the brothel out and everything. You got people fucking and sucking all over the place. Like they just, oh God. They all out in the open. Everything's out in the open. Ooh, y'all know that song. So they quiet everybody. It's like, let the prince speak. And I was like, oh. But we don't hear everything that he says. But Otto heard it for somewhere. I mean, I guess he got little spies or whatever. Because I was like, since he don't bring his punk ass nowhere, so how did he know what he said? But he went back and he told the king that Daemon was down there talking mad junk about the baby, calling him the little, what was it? The baby for a day. I'm sorry. Shit. The names they come up with. The queen that never was and the baby for a day. I'm not a baby for. I'm sorry. Not a baby for a day because he was. He was a baby for. I'm sorry. He wasn't baby. He was already. But he was a baby for one day. But they really was saying the king for a day. So, and that was being disrespectful and stuff. And now, the king done summoned for Daemon to come in. Now he pissed.
What do you mean? You will address me as your grace, or I will have my Kingsguard cut out your tongue. The heir for a day. Did you say it?
We must all mourn in our own way, your grace.
My family has just been destroyed. But instead of being by my side or near us, you chose to celebrate your own rise, laughing with your whores and your leg spittles. You have no allies at court but me. I have only ever defended you. Yet everything I've given you, you've thrown back in my face.
You've only ever tried to send me away to the Vale, to the City Watch, anywhere but by your side. 10 years you've been king, and yet not once have you asked me to be your hand.
Why would I do that?
Because I'm your brother. And the blood of the dragon runs thick.
Then why do you cut me so deep?
I've only ever spoken the truth. I see Otto Hightower for what he is.
An unwavering and loyal
A
hand.
cunt.
A second son who stands to inherit nothing he doesn't seize for himself.
Otto Hightower is a more honorable man than you could ever be.
He doesn't protect you. I would.
From what?
Yourself. You're weak, Viserys. And that council of leeches knows it. They all prey on you for their own ends.
I have decided to name a new heir.
I'm your heir.
Not anymore. You are to return to Runestone and your lady wife at once. And you are to do so without quarrel. By order of your king.
I felt bad for Daemon. And it seems like it hurt Viserys too to send his brother away. So I just was like, God, that was deep. So then we see Viserys. He's down in the basement where they keep the skull of Balerion, the Black Dread. And he has summoned for Rhaenyra to come down so he could speak to her. And he's letting her know about wanting her to be the queen of the Iron Throne. And he's talking to her about a prophecy that for Aegon. And I was like, okay, this comes back, because then they pull out the dagger, which was in Game of Thrones. And we, to this day, don't know how that damn dagger got through so many people, because it was the dagger that was used to try to kill Bran Stark. So we will see. So let me see in my notes. Did I say I want to? And then okay, what he said. We see the Lord swearing. Okay, so then we get to the where, after he talked to her about this and stuff, and how he want her to be queen, and then this tells her this is no trivial gesture, and then she just, we see her in is that in I want to say maybe in the King's Hall. I don't know what these halls all are called or whatever. So is he reading? Let me see. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So now she's in there and she's being, crowned, but just, I guess, to all the important lords and stuff, and so that they can claim fealty to her and stuff, and let her know that they got her backing. If anything was to pop off, if her daddy was to pass away, and then somebody try to contest her being the queen, then she will have their backing if that ever had to happen. And so he was saying to her, we hear our histories. They tell us that Aegon looked across the black water from Dragonstone and saw a rich land ripe for the capture. But ambition alone is not what drove him to conquest. It was a dream. And just as Daenerys foresaw the end of Valyria, because y'all, these names, these fucking names, Aegon foresaw the end of the world of men. 'Tis to begin with the terrible winter gusting out of the distant north. Aegon saw absolute darkness riding on those winds, and whatever dwells within will destroy the world of the living. When the great winter comes, Rhaenyra, all of Westeros must stand against it. And if the world of men is to survive, a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne, a king or queen strong enough to unite the realm against the cold and the dark. Aegon called his dream the Song of Ice and Fire. This secret has been passed from king to heir since Aegon's time. Now you must promise to carry it and protect it. Promise me, Rhaenyra. Promise me. And then we're seen in the grand hall, and Viserys says, I, Viserys Targaryen, first of his name, king of the Andals and the Rhoynar and the first men, lord of the seven kingdoms and protector of the realm, do hereby name Rhaenyra Targaryen, princess of Dragonstone and heir to the Iron Throne. And Shorty turned around with a crown on, and there we have it. But this just set everything in motion for what is to come on our next episodes. We do some time jumps. And this is so weird that they already was talking about people that watch Game of Thrones, of course, know what he was mentioning when he was saying about the having a Targaryen in the kingdom at that time on the throne. And as far as like the cold winters, so we already knew about the Night King from Game of Thrones. Well, I have some theories on that one, because I feel like everybody kept saying like they feel like the Night King was a Stark, but I'm like, shit, I feel like the Night King was a Targaryen. It's just crazy to me. And it's so much that goes with this. Like, oh my God, from the book readers talking so much stuff about what's going to happen, like in the episodes to come from the seasons and stuff later down the road, and how somebody's body was never claimed. I wonder if that person was actually the Night King. So he can finally be a king of some kind of kingdom, because he never was. So with that, guys, we're going to stop here, and then we'll pick up with episode 2, season 1 of House of the Dragon. All right, so we're moving on to episode 2 of season 1 for House of the Dragon. This one is called The Rogue Prince. So we start off with some crabs feeding on someone, and Lord, the man is alive. He is chained to a stump and screaming in pain as the crabs feed on him. So then we move over to the king, speaking to his council, and he received news that the Lord Commander of the King's Guard had passed away, and they had to find another guard to make the team a full 7, as it has been in the previous, I guess, sessions. And then Lord Corlys, he all pissed off. He comes stomping in because his ships are being infiltrated by the crab feeder and his crew, and he want to know what the council going to plan to do about it. And so then here we go with Weirdo Otto. He gonna speak up, stating, if you have something to discuss, and Corlys cuts his ass off just like I would have, stating what is going to be done to help his crew out. So then Weirdo goes on to say that he will be compensated for his ships and crew. Corlys like, nigga, that's not what I'm worried about. Do you not know who the fuck I am? Shit, I can pay for their haircut. Can you? And then obviously Otto can't, because his hair is never done. So, he ain't say all that, but that's what I would have said. I mean, seriously, when you look at his hair, he looked like a woman who just had sex in the backseat of somebody's car, and his hair got all messed up. I mean, he just looked a mess. Corlys don't want no compensation. He wants to take over the stepstones by force and burn out the crab feeder. And then the king goes on to say he doesn't want to start a war with the free cities, blah, blah, blah. So no one wants to step up and help him out. So Corlys reminds them of how Daemon took over Dragonstone with his gold clothes crew, and no one said a word about it. And here comes Weirdo. He's going to say, careful, Corlys, just because you have a seat on the council does not make you the king's equal. I was like, I know you didn't. And I was waiting for Corlys to give him the business, but he didn't. He stayed calm and everything. So this is where the king, he interjects and he says he has been working on things in the background. You may not see it, but I'm looking out. I'm working on it. I'm not being silent. I just got things working in my brain on how I want this to go. So then Rhaenyra, she chimes in and she offers a suggestion of force per se. And she states that they have dragon riders and to send them. Like, who gonna step to a dragon? Nobody but somebody who has a dragon themselves, right? So, and the homeboy only got crabs, so I don't think they would fare well going up against some dragons. Corey's like, yeah, now that's an idea. She thinking like a G. And then of course, Otto offers his little raggedy 2 cents, and he tells the princess should be doing something else, like knitting a sweater or something. So then they send her off to oversee candidates for the King's Guard posting with the Lord Commander. So they're going through the candidates and everything, and she's just like, ugh, whatever. And Otto, he's just such a creep. He just creeps up and stuff like, nigga, didn't you just dismiss me to do this work? Go be creepy somewhere else. Like, why are you here? Ugh. Well, all the guards are honorable men, but Rhaenyra wants to know if these niggas can really fight. Like, have they been in real battles and stuff? So they bring Sir Criston Cole out front, and Rhaenyra is intrigued by his experience, and she chooses him. So Otto says she shouldn't be too hasty. The other men are great, and Rhaenyra like, yo, ugly. My father should be defended by someone who can fight, as well as protect him. Isn't that what is important, Otto? And then Otto says, of course. I wish I would have saw how he looked, because he was a hot mess standing there. And Rhaenyra said, good. Let's go make Sir Criston his name tag and get started. So then we move on. Let's see. You have Rhaenys. She in her background. She checking things out and stuff. She's standing up there looking, and she just peeping game, trying to see how things roll over here. But she live on Driftmark, so she don't get around over here that much and stuff to see her favorite cousin and everything. The king is in his chambers explaining his little miniature kingdom he has in his room to Alicent and the history that goes with it and stuff. He has a big, like a 3D model of like the whole town, I think. Like maybe it's the whole realm, all 7 kingdoms and stuff. And it's big, it's nice and stuff like that. And he works on it, he's playing on it all the time. And then we can see his fingers wrapped up. And he drops one of his little figurines and it breaks. And I think it was a dragon or something like that. And they both go to pick it up and have a small moment. Viserys asks, how is Rhaenyra? And she does give him some advice. I mean, she is the same age with the same mindset. I mean, of his daughter. So, ain't like you really talking to somebody that would have a different thought process. And also, Alicent lost her mom too. But she did seem a bit hurt that he says that it may be a bit uncomfortable if she tells Rhaenyra of their talks and stuff. So it seemed like she was a little hurt that he would say that instead of like, I guess, like screaming to the mountaintops that him and Alicent been in the room having conversations, inappropriate conversations probably. So Rhaenyra and Alicent, they are in the church hall, and they just discussing pretty much the same thing the king has been just talking about with Alicent and stuff. And Rhaenyra starts to cry. The child just lost her mother in a horrible way too. So it's a shame that these girls had such a close friendship, and it goes to hell. Like, I want to say, because we do so many time jumps, and I think we jumped 26 years throughout this whole season. So, but we had to jump ahead to get to where we're going to be going, guys. So it is a big time jump. And then we see the king, and he's meeting with Corlys and his cousin Rhaenys. Corlys apologizes for his behavior of the small council meeting, and Viserys states that Rhaenys is his favorite cousin and that the Lord Corlys fleet is a very important asset to the realm. So he don't want to lose Corlys and his friendship. And I mean, plus he's married to his favorite cousin, so of course he don't want like bad blood there. They discuss how dire the situation is with their crab feeder and the step songs. Rhaenys says, my hubby speaks the truth, cousin. Things are getting bad. Corlys says to elude a storm, you can either sail into it or around it, but you must never wait its coming. The king asks if he has a resolution to this, and Corlys says yes. Let's join our families. Wed our daughter Lyanna. I'm like, okay, these two look old enough to have a beautiful young daughter in her mid 20s. I was like, all right. And I was like, it got to be another child somewhere else. And this before I knew that little one was who they was talking about. But anywho, the king says he hadn't even thought about remarrying, even though he was blinded by wanting a son heir. He loved his wife, and you could tell he loved Emma with everything in him. And I think that's the reason why he has such a connection with Rhaenyra. Not only for that, but I mean, she is his first child, and I think as I watch the show throughout the rest of the season and stuff, and we're gonna get there. Even though he winds up being with Alicent, and I'm sure he loved, had feelings for her, but he was in love with Emma. And that's why I think his connection with Rhaenyra was so different than it is with his other children and stuff. And you clearly can see that and stuff. So, and then Rhaenys goes on to say he has to remarry and have more children. I mean, that's just the way things is. So then we move on to him having dinner with Rhaenyra, and when he do go ahead and express to her how much he loved her mother, and he gets choked up, saying that. And Rhaenyra tried to talk about the small council meeting. I think she wanted to apologize and stuff, and he goes on to say, "Don't worry, you are young. It's all good." So we move on to the king's chambers. There's a bowl of maggots, and the maester is unwrapping his little nasty pinky and having put his hand in the bowl of maggots, saying that this should help the advancement of the disease, and they will eat away the dead skin. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. When I saw that, I was like, okay. This man is just falling apart in front of our eyes. And this is only on episode 2. So Viserys tells the widow Otto that he spoke to his cousin and to Corlys and about him getting remarried to their daughter. And Otto says that was out of pocket of Corlys, as this should have been discussed with the small council. And I had to crack up here because Viserys says, that's like what the fuck I'm doing now, dummy. He didn't say that, but that's what I wanted him to say. But he was like, that's what I'm doing now. You are a part of the small council. These maesters are a part of the small council. So I'm discussing it with y'all dumbasses right now. Jesus. Now I want y'all to listen to this, because this comes out of Weirdo's mouth. He says, the Lady Lyanna is young, Your Grace. Now this is going to come back in a later episode. I had to laugh because I was like, you got some nerves. And the maester says, shit, like, that's a damn good idea. Y'all motherfuckers like sleeping with one another anyway, so shit, they got the same hair and some of them can ride a dragon. Like, you ain't really losing out on nothing. At least you know the damn little baby's gonna come out with blonde hair or white hair. That's the biggest issue, because if them babies don't come out looking with that kind of hair, oh, it's a problem. They start thinking some things about you. And so the king is concerned about how Rhaenyra may feel. And the maester said, why does that matter? Well, I was like, well, damn. Shit, she is his only child. And although, this is his duty, I'm sure she would understand, but it's like, let her be a part of it. Like, just have the conversation with your child. But I keep forgetting, like, those days is totally different than, like, you pretty much are a girl. You say, do exactly what I tell your ass to do, and you have no mind of your own. Worth a damn. All right, let's see. Okay, so then we flip on over to the king walking with Lady Lyanna. And for a minute, when I first saw this little girl walking up, I was like, what's going on here? Because this cannot be the child. She looks like she is 8 years fucking old, even though they're saying that she is 12. I was like, God dang. And he is uncomfortable. I mean, he probably think like I'm old enough to be her damn grandfather. Like, what in the hell was these people thinking? So they just walking and talking. She's asking about the old dragons and stuff. Cause I mean, like, what else can a 12-year-old be talking about? And one that she is going to ultimately wind up riding later on down in the time jumps and stuff. So, then she turned around. Oh, that poor baby. She said, it will be a great honor to join our houses in marriage, and I will give you many children of pure Valerian blood. I was like, boo. And the king said, he was thinking the same thing. He was like, is that what your father told you to say? No, what did your mother tell you to say? And she said, that I didn't have to bed you until I turned 14. I said, what in the fuck? Who in the, what? Oh. The king looked at her just like I was just saying. The king was like, fuck this shit. I might like a young girl, but this is a baby. This girl is too young. So then the camera pans up to Rhaenyra. She's watching them and stuff. And Rhaenys is sitting up there too. And Rhaenyra goes to walk off, and Rhaenys asks her, does it bother her? And Rhaenyra gives like a political answer. Then she asks Rhaenys, does it bother her? And Rhaenys said, yeah. But she understands the order of things. Rhaenys is trying to let her know that men would rather put the throne to torch than to see a woman rule. And that's crazy. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. So the king is talking with Alicent about him remarrying. She asks who, and she said that Lyanna is a great choice. And she know that Lyanna will enjoy his company just as much as she has. Then she whips out her little figurine that he broke, and she wind up having fixed. So I think at that moment, it made him rethink his decision at that moment. So then someone knocks on the door, and it's weirdo Otto, stating he called the small council due to some serious news that just came through. So one of the dragon handlers is there, and he's telling on Daemon, who has stolen a dragon and left a note saying that he is about to marry his pregnant boo. And he would like his brother to be there. And so Corlys asks, like, who is Lady Mysaria? And weirdo Otto gonna say, Daemon's whore. He loves saying that. He loves calling it Daemon woman a whore. And then Rhaenyra asks, what egg is it that he took? And so the dragon tamer speaks to her in High Valyrian, and he tell her and let her know that it's the one that was chosen for her deceased brother. And then Viserys, he loses his mind at this point. He mad because, you know, on the first episode when they said that he was saying heir for a day, Lord, I hope y'all listen to that, because I turned around first, said a baby for a day. Like, okay, he was a baby. And it was for a day, but he was already a baby. So we ain't going back down that rabbit hole. So, Viserys is mad. He's like, oh, you know what? Fuck this shit. I already done told his ass one time before, stop playing these games with me. So now I'm about to get my ass up here and go to Dragonstone myself and kick my brother ass my damn self. And so Weirdo was like, no, King, don't worry about that. I'll go down there and see about this nigga anyway, because I need to go down to, Dragonstone. I gotta pick up some crabs anyways to cook dinner. So I need to get on over there myself. So, he's in his chambers. We see him. He all in there getting all suited and booted with Alicent. She in there helping him out and stuff. And he takes notice of her fingernails. But he does it too. It's like a really bad habit. Like they just pick at their nails. And you don't even see a nail anymore. It's like they just picked it so bad the nail is gone and you just see the little stubby meat. And he gonna ask, will you go see the king tonight? And she says, if you wish it, girl, say no. No, Dad, I'm not going to see the king tonight. I saw him already today. What the fuck? Oh God, the shit them girls went through back in them days. So then we have Sir Kristen Cole. He comes to the door and stuff to see if Weirdo is ready, and he let him know that he got a whole posse assembled outside. And Allison says, "Okay, take care of my pops," and then she walks on out. So we see Weirdo and his crew walking up to Dragonstone. And I love this scene. Then they on the bridge and stuff waiting, and then the camera pans out, and it's like the most amazing shot of the bridge, and you see like the clouds and like I guess maybe that's the fog and stuff, like the smoke just coming up because they're on Dragonstone, and so then you see Damon and his crew. They're walking down, and Damon is dressed in all black. He got the black egg in his hand, and he got Dark Sister on him. I just love the name of that sword, because, honey, Dark Sister is the truth. And it's so funny, because when these two are going back and forth and talking junk to each other, you gotta see Sir Harwin's face. Like, he do everything not to laugh. So he put his head down. It's hilarious to see like their reaction. And Damon always has like the best one-liners. He has no emotion and he gives zero fucks. When he talks to his first wife's cousin, who I guess comes to like check him, that shit had me dying. And I'm gonna have to play that for y'all because I was cracking up. So then they going back and forth and then they talking shit to each other. So then now the men, they draw their swords at each other. And then you can hear Caraxes coming into view. And he makes this like noise or whatever. And he got that long old neck. And that's why I was like, ugh, I love his dragon. And he comes into view and then you hear Weirdo. He tells men to put their swords away because I mean, really, who came here to get burnt up? Because that's exactly what's going to happen if they keep fucking with Damon. But this is their back and forth, guys.
Your occupation of this island is at an end. You're to relinquish the dragon's egg, disband your army, banish your whore, and leave Dragonstone by order of His Grace King Viserys.
Where is the king? I don't see him.
His Grace would never lower himself to entertain such a mother's farce.
Sir Crispin, wasn't it?
Sir Kristen Cole, my prince.
Ah, yes, apologies. I couldn't recall.
Perhaps my prince recalls when I knocked him off his horse.
Very good.
This is a truly pathetic show, Damon. Are you so desperate for the king's attention that you've resorted to skulking about like a common cutpurse?
I'm simply keeping with the traditions of my house, the same as my brother did for his heir.
Those traditions are for the true-born children of royalty, not for bastards fathered on a common whore.
Lady Missaria is to be my wife.
This is an abomination. With every breath you soil your name, your house, and your brother's reign.
Our love does not know titles and traditions.
And what of you, men of the City Watch? Aiding the prince in his treason.
The king made me their commander. They are loyal to me. You've come for the egg.
Here it is.
Are you mad? You'd never survived this.
Well, happily, neither would you.
To choose violence here is to declare war against your king.
Wonderful.
Even if it ends in the death of your unborn child and its mother. All of you, sheathe the fucking steel.
Now you guys see what I meant? I was cracking up because Damon gives zero fucks. Damon is a mess. And the dragon just has that crackly voice or whatever, scream. So at this point, Rhaenyra rolls up on Cyrax, and Weirdo gonna ask her what she was doing there. And she says preventing bloodshed. And he instructs Kristen to escort the princess back home. And she says, take care not to startle Cyrax, my lords. She's rather protective of me. Okay, letting you know, do not put your hands on me. My dragon will automatically burn your ass. If she don't care who you are. So she goes on to speak to her uncle in High Valyrian, and they discuss the egg and the drama with the throne. He tosses the egg to Rhaenyra because he does love his family. And he don't want that drama or whatever. I think he just, sometimes Damon do be feeling like he needs to poke his chest out a little bit, I guess. I don't know what that is. But he is the little brother, so of course he acting like one. So, she puts the egg in his incubator and she flies off, leaving the weirdo to pick up his face off the ground because she just handled business as a female when Otto was there about to start a whole war. And how you think you're going to go kill the king's brother? Shit. So Damon goes back in with his boo, Mysaria, and she's not happy because she understands the conversation that they was having. Even though they were speaking in High Valyrian, she understood and she was pissed because she was like, I don't want this kind of issue. Because she like, I just want things, I done been through stuff like this before. Like she been sold, she been raped and had sex and all this stuff. People just did her wrong. She just want the stuff to stop. And just, she want to live a good life. So it's like, don't put me in the middle of this shit. Don't be using me to try to piss your brother off or whatever. So the king was in his room and he playing his little toys and contemplating on his future wife, I believe. And when he goes to speak to Lionel Strong, asking his thoughts on marrying Lyanna Velaryon, and he lets him know that she is the best choice, as she comes from the wealthiest family house, and she is of pure Valyrian blood. Not to mention, she is the daughter of his cousin Rhaenys Targaryen, so she has dragon blood as well. So Viserys says, but she is 12. And Lionel says she will mature. Like, come on, people. These are babies now. But Lionel, I do like him. And he does eventually becomes the hand. But we'll get to that. But I do like that he is not thirsty for it. He gives good advice. And, hey. So they talk about what could happen if he rejects his proposal, and Lionel lets him know Corlys will make a better ally than an enemy. So one of the king's guard comes in to let the king know that Princess Rhaenyra has returned from Dragonstone. I'm like, ah, damn, everybody here a tattletale. They just telling every damn thing. She can't go nowhere. So he pissed, like, what the fuck? Now, I told her little ass not to be going up there. So he in the room with her, he pissed off, he reprimanded Rhaenyra for rolling around without permission, because she's the heir. And she lets him know that she got the egg with no drama, something that Weirdo wasn't able to do. And Viserys does have a soft spot for Rhaenyra, for real. And it's, like I said, I think it's because he was so in love with her mother, and that just hits different. And he was telling her he regrets everything during her birth of Balon, which was the king or the heir of one day. Okay, I'm stuck. That shit just cracked me up. He lets her know that he has to remarry, even though he really doesn't want to. And she lets him know that she understands, but thinking it will be Lady Lyanna. So she just came to terms with that, and she's at peace with it. And I think, to her, it's like, well, I mean, it's my cousin. So what? So the king is having a meeting with his council, and he let them know that he decided to take a new wife. And then he looks at his daughter and she smiles, letting him know that it's okay to go on and, say who it is. Then he looks at Alicent, and Rhaenyra looks at her, and I think at that point she was like, no the fuck not. Oh, and I know she probably like, I know damn well, Daddy, you ain't talking about this hoe. Then the king announces that it is Lady Alicent that he has chosen. And Lord Corlys is like, nigga, you just made the worst mistake of your life. And the king says, and I am your king. And Weirdo looks like, yep. And then Viserys says, Rhaenyra. And then she goes, storms off, because now she pissed. And you can see Corlys is talking to someone. I mean, we don't flip from there, and then he's somewhere like in maybe a little office or whatever, but he's sitting there talking to someone, and the camera is panning around, and then we see Prince Daemon, y'all. And when I say I love the one-liners Daemon give, Corlys is saying, we are so much alike, and Daemon like, I didn't know you had a king for a brother. Like, no, nigga, I don't. I'm just saying we both men who have to cut our way through the world, and we've been passed over. And Damon like, nigga, I get it. And then he's just going to talk, you know, I guess like taking little shots at Viserys. And he said, okay, like I could talk about my brother, but you can't. And he lets him know that it's been, you know, trouble in the stepstone. And he has been begging the king to assist with the handling it, but he has been denied. And then Daemon said, it was never my brother's strongest trait. And Corlys asks, what? And Daemon says, being king. And Corlys goes on to say how the king just been chilling, throwing parties, and having tourneys like a punk ass bitch. And Daemon says, oh, this one he says it, I will speak of my brother as I wish, but you will not. And Corlys like, okay, chill. But our worth is not given. It must be made. And I said, Lord have mercy. Then we see that mess of a man, the crab feeder. So we finally see his ass. And good Lord, that face is hot mess. So with that, that's episode 2, guys. We're moving on along. Okay, now we're going to go into episode 3, season 1 of House of the Dragon. And this one is titled Second of His Name. So we start off with the crab feeder and someone screaming, House Valerion is coming for you. The sea snake will have your poxy fucking head. And the crab feeder just starts pounding a nail into his hand into a tree stump while the man is screaming, no, please. Fuck you, Prince Drayon, says the man. Fuck you. Fuck your whore mother and bastard father. The crab feeder puts a crab on the man's chest, and you can see the crabs moving towards his face and stuff. It's fire all around, so clearly Daemon has been around. So you hear a screech and men yelling, and you can see the fire from the dragon. His big ass wings come open. And you can see the soldier who was nailed to the stump yell, Hail, Prince Damien! Burn the fucking triarchy cunts alive! Meanwhile, Caraxes is doing just that. He's burning everybody. And then the soldier, you can hear him say, Here, my prince, save me! And right then, Caraxes lands and steps right on the man. I'm like, first up, how do you think anybody can see your ass all the way down on the ground? And all this stuff going on. I mean, it's already dark as I don't know what. When I seen that, I was like, ooh, he just stepped right on that man. Then you see the crab feeder's men running into the cave for cover and stuff. So this is where they're having a problem because every time they come over to like try to fight his ass, they retreat inside the cave, and then the dragon can only go in there for so far. So even though Caraxes got a long neck and he was able to go like just put his neck in and burn fire, but I mean they can go all the way in the cave and just stay in there forever. So this clearly they said this has been going on for 3 years. So I'm like, are you kidding me? Y'all been burning up the ground for 3 years and the man just won't come out of the damn cave. It is crazy. And fire is everywhere. And hell, and the fire from the dragon is so intense, it burned a man straight out of his boots. When he blew his fire, all you saw was the damn boots. I was like, okay. So Damon is on the dragon yelling, "Where are you?" And he's yelling to the crab feeder saying that, and you see his stupid ass standing in the doorway of the cave. Now he ain't coming out. And Damon's like, "Come out and face me, Drahar. I'm going to feed you to your own crabs." While Caraxi is burning everything up, we have the archers up top. So they have archers up there and they shooting arrows down, and they got fire on the arrows and everything. And Caraxi, he's trying to cover Damon with one of his wings. He had pulled his wing up because when they were shooting the arrows and stuff, they were hitting the dragon. So he like put his wing up to like cover Damon, but Damon did get hit in the shoulder by one of it. As soon as he got hit, the dragon screamed out just like Damon did. And I just love how the bond that the writers have with their dragons and stuff. And we saw this on Game of Thrones with Daenerys. Like one time, well, it's been a couple of times, but one time in particular, they were in, they was at I guess like a fighting show or whatever, and Drogon, she was like at the end where people were surrounding them, and it was like hissing at them and stuff and getting ready to kill her and her crew that she was with. And then Drogon came out of nowhere and just like started burning people ass up and stuff. So they have that connection with maybe just feelings or whatever. And then the one time when the Night King shot his damn javelin stick at Viserion, the dragon Viserion, and then it went down like soon as it hit. Oh my God, y'all gotta watch that episode. If you don't want to watch all of Game of Thrones, just pull up the episode on YouTube, the clip of when the Night King kills Viserion. And my God, when he hit that damn dragon and all that blood went flying out of everywhere and that dragon went down, the other two dragons just screamed out in pain. I was like, I started crying. I was so upset. I was like, ain't this about a bitch? So we do have a time jump on this one, obviously, because like they said, he's been fighting for 3 years. So we got a time jump. Alicent is pregnant, but she already has her first baby with the king, which is Aegon. And that baby is 2 years old. And then I think she's pregnant with her daughter, Helena. I believe that's the order they go. Aegon, Helena, and Aemon. And then I think Darren is the last one. Yeah, I believe that's the order the kids are in. So, you can see, oh yeah, with the time jump and everything, blah, blah, blah. And then Weirdo Otto and his twerp of a brother, they stand around talking about the baby is just 2 and already has a king presence. Never mind the fact that the king has already named Rhaenyra his heir. Like, just leave the fucking shit alone. Like, just can't stop. Just can't stop. So, those of us that watch Game of Thrones, we know a lot about the Lannisters and how annoying that they were and how much we disliked them. Everybody, at least everybody but Tyrion for me. I really like Tyrion. Tyrion, he was very smart. So they have the twins, Lannisters, and then they're played by the one man, but Tyland, and I think he is on council, and then James is the other brother. James or Jason is the other brother, and they but Tyler is on the council for the king and stuff. So he came with an update trying to let him know what's going on in the Stepstones with Damien and everybody. And the king is like, it's been 3 years. So not today, Tyler. This can wait 3 more days. And Tyler is still in the king's ear talking about it while the man is trying to get something to eat. And he's sitting around here asking everybody, where's Rhaenyra? He ain't thinking about what this dude is talking about. Then Weirdo comes, he jumps in and, looking at Tyler like, I mean, damn, nigga, do you got ears? Didn't you just hear the man say, not today? damn. And then the king, he just yells, can someone tell me where in the 7 hells Rhaenyra might be? And then we get flipped over into the garden, and Rhaenyra is sitting under a little werewolf tree, and she just in her little book writing, I guess, talking about how much she hate everybody. No, she probably in there writing like what she gonna do to people when she become queen. And so the little boy in there, he out there singing and shit to her. Alicent walks up and she dismisses the singer, and Rhaenyra is irritated, like as soon as she comes out, like, oh my God, all I want to do is just write in my diary. But she go ahead and complies because Alicent says that the king demands her presence. So they all are in the wagon heading to camp for a traditional hunt and stuff. And they all having a little small talk. And Rhaenyra is not trying to hear this mess about her having a baby and stuff. So she looking like, I mean, you don't look happy. So why the fuck do you think I would want to be pregnant and looking like you? Because you look miserable. And so they pull up and everybody is outside clapping and shit. Rhaenyra is walking around. The king noticed that Thailand is staring at Rhaenyra. Ugh, God. These men are just such pervs. And there's a group of women sitting around, and you have this female, and I don't know what her name was, but we're going to call her Karen. And she was in there talking out the side of her neck. We have Loras Strong. Loras Strong. He entered and asked if he can sit down with the lady since he has a club foot and he couldn't participate with the hunt with the men due to that, that ailment. So Karen just asked Rhaenyra to give them some insight on what's happening at the Stepstones. And Rhaenyra says that she couldn't because she hasn't been to the Stepstone. And Karen says, your dear uncle is the great mind behind this war. And Rhaenyra is like, okay, but I'm not my uncle and I haven't seen him or spoken to him in years. So then Karen steps in and she tried to be a smart mouth about it and stuff. But Alicent interjects and reminds everyone that Daemon is a grown-ass man who makes his own decisions. And Rhaenyra ain't got nothing to do with that shit. So Karen goes on to say that the king need to get off his ass and end this war. So Rhaenyra says, but the crown isn't at war. And Karen says, the crown is at war, princess, though your father refuses to admit it. We've been dragged into it by your uncle and the sea snake. And Rhaenyra says, and how have you served the realm as of late, Karen? By eating cake? And then you see her puppy down there eating the shit out of the cake that was in her lap. And Loras, the camera pans over at Loras, and he puts a cookie in his mouth like, ooh, she told you. And Rhaenyra walked out. And you can see Alicent over there smile a little bit like, that's my dog. She ain't fucking with me like that, but that's my dog, y'all. So she outside and Jason Lannister tries to come and holler at her and stuff. And she like, I see your ugly twin ass brother every day since he is on my father's council. Like, now I gotta look at your fucking ass. She's so disgusted. And she walks away like, damn. And he out here just trying to make small talk, talking about what he would do if she was his queen or his wife, lady wife. So dumb. And what he'll do and stuff for her and stuff. And she like, what? So she already know that her father don't put this shit together. So she ran over to her father and she fussing at him for sending Jason to try to hook her up with him and shit. And they get a bit loud and everybody's like looking like, oh shit. So this was a time that I was like, thank goodness for Weirdo. So he came and walked up and he was like, that they spotted the traditional white stag, which is meant to be good luck. And they're just waiting, I guess, for it to get close enough or whatever. And the king says his little shit, what he gotta say. And Rhaenyra mad. She just rides off pissed. And Kristen Cole is yelling behind her to stop. And I was like, goodness gracious. He was like, stop, princess, stop, where are you going? And she just flying on a horse and shit. I'm like, she ain't talking to you. But he was able to catch up with her and stop her horse before it goes inside a pond or throw her ass inside a pond. So they walk and they talking about the woulda, coulda, shouldas of life. And then we switch over to the men in the woods tracking the stag. And the one man says that the stag's doo-doo is still warm and soft. And so that means that the stag isn't far. Then Viserys grabs the fucking dookie and he smells it and says it's still fresh. Like, what the fuck is going on? Then Weirdo has to add his 2 cents in, and how this is such a special day with the stag being spotted on the same day of Aegon's birthday. The king smiles like, this nigga here, and he pats Weirdo on the shoulder with his shitty hand. Now that's a symbol if I ever seen one, because he's supposed to be the hand. His hand is shitty because he just got through touching some doo-doo, and then he touches the damn hand. So shitty hand, which he was a shitty hand. Literally. So then now the king is back. They showing him back at the party and stuff, drink, because right now they still got to wait for the stag to get close enough and everything. So he getting drunk. He over there getting fucked up. So you see the twins, Jason and Tyler, and they sitting at the table eating and everything. And Jason calls someone over to bring him the gifts he has for the king, which is some kind of fancy stick with a knife on the end of it. And he wants the king to use it to pierce the heart of the white stag. So Jason goes on to say he will be honored to marry Rhaenyra and he can offer strength. And the king says, do you think that House Targaryen wants for strength? And Jason said, if someone offered you more dragons, would you not take them? And the king was like, do you have dragons to offer, my motherfucking nigga? And Jason said, Rhaenyra can come live with me at my house, and she will be well compensated for her loss of station. And the king was like, what loss of station? And Jason was like, oh, if you were to name your young Aegon heir, your grace. The king said, and when will I be doing that? And Jason was like, I assume since he is your firstborn son. Many of us had assumed. And the king was like, oh, so y'all been talking behind my back, I see. So let's be clear once again, whoever is talking shit about my decision to make Rhaenyra heir will have their heads chopped off. And you have a duty to report that shit. And all y'all motherfuckers will do well to remember that, or my dragon will remind you for me. And he was like, thanks for the gift. Get the hell on. And then he just walk away like, oh shit. Weirdo come creeping over like he always do. I mean, just looking like a snake. And as soon as he sit down, you can see the king face. It's like, oh, here you come. Like, I don't want to hear your shit now. And so, what's his name? Otto, he just like, he started off trying to talk about the stag. Like, yeah, this is a great day. Like, you need to be happy and stuff. Like, this is a really good sign, you know, we're getting a stag on the day of Aegon's birthday. Then he go on and slip in like, what do you think about Jason's proposal to wed Rhaenyra? And the king says that man pride has pride. So he laughed. And Weirdo goes on to say, you're not only Rhaenyra's father, you're the king. And I'm sitting here like, nigga, tell us something we don't know. I mean, we all know that already. She'll do as you command, but the king doesn't want to command his daughter. He wants her to be happy. So, oh shit, I got something on my foot, y'all, that's leaking out. Sorry. So Weirdo gonna fix his mouth to say, and this is what I said on episode 1, I believe, or maybe it was 2, that this comes back. This was funny. He gonna say, there is another choice beyond Casterly Rock. One, perhaps you might be more comfortable with, one closer to home. And then the king was like, who do you have in mind? And this dummy said, Prince Aegon. The king face was so fucking hilarious. And Weirdo face was even funnier, y'all, because he was sitting there, he was so proud of himself. He just knew that he said the best thing right then and there. And then the king looks over at the baby who is playing on the floor with his nanny. And he says, the boy just turned 2, Otto. And then he bust out laughing like, what the fuck is on your mind? I mean, you telling me that when I was getting ready to tell you, when I told you that Corliss wanted me to marry Lady Lena, you said that she was too young because she was 12 years old. And now you trying to hook my daughter up with her 2-year-old brother. Help me make sense of that shit. Like, how do that make sense? What the fuck is she supposed to do with that? Was she gonna have to change his pampers all the way up until he get old enough to that just didn't make sense. The king he died laughing. And he was like, I came here to hunt, not to be suffocated by all this fucking politicking. And then Otto was like, let us speak no more of it. And then he walk away. Yeah. Because the king like, yo, if you say one more fucking word, I'm going to punch you right upside the head. God. He like, golly, I can't just sit here and enjoy my drink. He's sitting over there though, y'all. He getting fucked up. He don't even want to be there. So here comes Lionel. Lionel walks up, Lionel strong, and he lets the king know they have a crew looking for the princess, and Christian Cole is out there with her and stuff. So, you know, at least he'll feel good about that much. And the king is like, that girl is so hard-headed. If I would have told her she couldn't marry Jason Lannister, she would have done it out of spite. And they both laugh and stuff. And they be cracking up on how they be announcing their ages and stuff. And he said he is powerless over his own daughter, who is 7 and 10. Like, nigga, that's 17. Just say that. 7 and 10. Lionel gets him to laugh, and when he says that it is a tradition that daughters drive you into madness. I was like, yeah, I wonder if all dads feel that way. He also asks if he would like to hear his opinion. And the king says, I guess you're saying that I should hook her up with your son, which is the strongest knight in the 7 kingdoms. And Lionel says, you honor me, but no. Leonor Valerian, and he said, my reason to bond the houses, my reason on that is to bond the houses together. And he was like, the same thing that I try to tell you to do when I suggested that you marry Princess or Lady Lena. So maybe you will listen to me on this one. So he did ease the king a little bit on that. He also put in there, well, at least, it would make sense. But he was like, but we do have to pray that Leonor survives the fighting and the stepsons, since he out there helping and shit. So he's sort of like trying to solve 2 issues at one time. And then the king gets up and touches Lionel's shoulder. So I know he looked at it like, you just gave me some really good advice, and you're not out here trying to benefit from it at all. So Rhaenyra and Cole, they still in the woods. They don't got nighttime now, so it's really dark. And then a boar comes up and attacks them. The damn thing knocks Cole off his feet, and then it jumps on Rhaenyra. So Cole stabs it, but it jumps back up, and she has to stab it to death. Like she just literally just go crazy and just start stabbing. And so then we get to the king. He's standing in front of a bonfire, and Alicent walks up, and the king is saying that he named Rhaenyra heir to protect her from Daemon. And then he goes on to say that when he was a child, he saw it in a dream, a male babe born to me wearing the conqueror's crown. That also comes back on the second to last episode, I believe that's what it'll be. And then he get a little upset talking about his late wife, Emma. And the man still loves her, even though he's with Alicent. And I know he cares about her and all this and that. But, Emma was the love of his life. So then we get into the next morning, and the men are back in the woods. So they done captured the stag, but it's not the white stag. It is a stag, but it's not the white one, the one that's supposed to be for good luck. So the king, you can tell, he's not really in the mood for this shit. So then Jason, he just so proud. He hand him the stick with the knife on it and tell Viserys to kill the stag with it and stuff. So Viserys attempts the first time, and I guess he might not have hit the stag in the right spot or whatever, because the thing is still like screaming and hollering and struggling and stuff. So then he have to do it again, and this time I believe he got him straight in the heart, and that's when the stag falls to the ground, and the men all clap and stuff as he walked back to his horse. But you could tell he's just like, oh God, this is not what I want to do. And you see Rhaenyra, she's sitting on her horse on top of the mountain, and she's looking over and stuff. And then the actual white stag is standing there, beautiful and regal, and is just looking at her. Kristen Cole, he starts taking out his sword to try to, I guess, kill it. And Rhaenyra says no. And then the stag runs off. So then we see her and Cole walking back to camp and stuff, and she all bloody from, getting in the fight with the damn boar, and everybody just looking like, oh shit, what done happened? And now we flip it. I mean, they move so fast. We done got back to the house and stuff. And Weirdo's in there with his daughter, making some small talk, and he's insisting that Aegon was born to rule, and she must guide Viserys into that direction. And Alicent is trying to let him know, like, he already has named Rhaenyra his heir. And she like, why are you like, still doing this? Like, let's just leave it alone. The man named her. And so he's pushing like, you might just need to help him a little bit. Like, guide his thoughts that way. So Alicent goes in to see the king, and they discuss Rhaenyra and stuff. And Alicent does say he has to allow Rhaenyra to make the decision on her own as to who she should marry and stuff. And then there's a letter from Valerian asking for help with the fight at the Stepstones. So the next morning, you see the king giving the messenger a note to Daemon, letting them know he is sending help. And so Viserys and Rhaenyra are going back and forth on him trying to marry her off, and how there is no room for her now that he has finally got a son. And he lets her know she still have to marry and multiply. But he is also letting her know that he is not trying to have her supplanted. She's not going to get kicked out of that position. What he said, and he did this in front of people, so that means, to him, that he feels like that means something. But we see what's going to happen. So then we flip on over to the Stepstones, and Corlys is discussing what they have and don't have, and they are trying to put a strategy together so they can try to get the crab feeder and get this damn war over with. Shit, they've been fighting for 3 years. I'm like, come on now. At some point, we need to do something. So Vaemon, which is Corlys' brother, he is doubtful, and he just basically over the shit because the crab feeder and his men constantly run and hide in the caves. And Laenor is saying they have to have somebody be bait, and so that they can get the crab feeder to come out. And he was like, Vaemon was like, well, who's going to be dumb enough to do that? And he was like, Daemon. He's the best person to do it. And Vaemon says Daemon is the reason that we losing this war. And Laenor says he at least is fighting this war. What? Damn it. He said he is at least fighting this war. What role have you played in this council, uncle, other than master of complaints? I cracked up. I had to play that a couple of times. I was like, these people have no chill. They just get over each other. And then you can hear Corlys say, enough, Laenor. Like, stop. That's your uncle still. Stop being disrespectful. And Vaemon says, if King's Landing won't support him in this war, why would any of them? And so Corlys grabs Vaemon and says, blood or not, I will not have you stoke mutiny. And so Daemon is walking up and everything. The messenger walks up with his crew and stuff, and he gives Daemon the note from Viserys. And Daemon reads it, and he gets pissed immediately, and he starts beating that poor messenger up. And I'm like, damn, that man is just the messenger. He didn't write this shit down. He ain't had nothing to do with none of this. So then you see Damon rowing over to where the crab feeder is, and he pulls out a white flag and he kneels down, holding up Dark Sister, letting the crab feeder believe that he is surrendering and stuff. So the crab feeder, he walks out of the cave, looking around to make sure, this shit real, because he like, y'all got these dragons and shit, and we ain't got time for that. Then he signals for his men to go over to Damon, and the archers are all on top of the cave, getting, in position, because again, they don't trust him. So then one guy's walk over to Damon and takes Dark Sister and turns around as if they won, and Damon snatches another knife and stabs him up. And then Damon started running his ass off and fighting along the way, not getting hit by any of the arrows. He's just running. And the crab feeder instructs more men to head out and fight Damon and stuff. Then Damon is hit a few times and he has to hide under this awning. And I guess to get himself together. And I think for a minute, Damon probably thought oh shit, I don't think they're coming to help me. So he laying under there looking around in the sky like, shit. Where my dragon at? Caraxi, you don't feel this? You won't feel me in pain down here? And so, the crab feeder men, they running out and stuff. And then, let's see. What happened then? Oh, and then while he laying there, he looks up and you can see Corliss and his crew standing there. And then we get Laenor on Sea Smoke burning shit up. He just come and he just start burning it up. And it's a straight brawl with Damon and all the men and everybody. Everybody just out here fighting. And so the crab feeder, he trying to get back into the cave, and Damon tosses up Dark Sister and he just start running behind the crab feeder. Laenor got the dragon grabbing people and tossing their asses all over the place. And he's screaming Dracarys and burning shit up. Damon walks back out and then with just the top portion of the damn crab feeder. And he is all bloody. And that ended that episode, y'all. So we didn't have a lot, but we had a lot. That fight scene was really, really good. So we getting into it. We got 10 episodes and we already getting ready to be on episode 4, y'all. So all right, I'll be back.